Pakistan and India are now on the verge of war. According to India, China and Turkey are among the key countries emboldening Pakistan. If a war were to break out, Turkey's stance is already under debate. Today, we will dive into Pakistan-Turkey relations. Turkey-Pakistan relations are untouchable. Governments change, bureaucrats come and go, but this untouchable status never wavers. After the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and Azerbaijan, both Turkish states, Pakistan is the country Turkey feels closest to in the world. So, what drives Turkey's deep sensitivity toward Pakistan? Pakistan and Turkey relations trace their roots back to the Ottoman Empire. At that time, Pakistan was not yet an independent state, but the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent, particularly those living in the lands that are now Pakistan and Bangladesh, felt a deep sense of loyalty to the Ottoman Empire. Starting in the 18th century, Muslims in India, seeking a religious answer against Western colonialism, began to develop a closeness to the Ottoman Caliphate. This bond grew stronger, especially after the Treaty of Küçük Kaynarca in 1774, which increased the Caliph's influence and during the pan-Islamist policies of Sultan Abdülhamid II. By the late 19th century, this connection, strengthened by the narrative of religious brotherhood centered on the Caliphate, continued with material and moral support during the Tripolitanian War, the Balkan War, and World War I. The threat of the Ottoman Empire's disintegration heightened in the Indian Muslim resolve to save the Islamic world. Indian Muslims saw the Ottoman Empire as the last bastion resisting Western imperialism. Between 1919 and 1924, the Indian Khilafat Movement actively supported Turkish national struggle, providing both political and material aid while championing the Turkish cause on the international stage. This support was also deeply intertwined with anti-British sentiment. The pressures exerted by Indian Muslims partially solved Britain's policies toward Turkey. Until the abolition of the Caliphate in the year 1924, the relationship between the two communities was shaped by shared religious, political, ideological values. Contrary to expectations, the abolition of the Caliphate in the year 1924 did not lead to resentment among Indian Muslims. On the contrary, the decision by Turkish people under Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's leadership to establish a modern state was met with respect across the Islamic world. At that time, the leaders of Indian Muslims living as a community under British-ruled India declared that the founding to the Republic of Turkey should serve as an example of building a modern Muslim nation. And so it happened. When Indian Muslims gained independence in 1947 under the name Pakistan, Turkey was among the first countries to recognize this new state. Pakistan's founder Muhammad Ali Jinnah had himself been among those who supported the Ottoman Empire in his youth. This deep-rooted bond between the two peoples has now become one of the cornerstones of official diplomacy. The material and moral support provided by Indian Muslims during the Turkish War of Independence has never been forgotten by Turkish people. Here, how President Erdogan underscored this historical perspective in a speech on February 14, 2020.
Pakistan halkının Kurtuluş Savaşımız sırasında ekmeğinden artırarak gönderdiği yardımları hiçbir zaman unutmadık ve unutmayacağız. İşte şimdi de bizim için Kashmir odur olacaktır. Dün Çanakkale, bugün Kashmir. Hiçbir farkı yok.
Turkey is governed by right-wing, left-wing, or even military dictatorship. It has always maintained close ties with Pakistan in every era. The convergence between the two countries was further facilitated during the Cold War as both nations found themselves in the same political camp. The Kashmir issue, which is of vital importance to Pakistan, has remained unresolved for years. The Kashmir dispute, which India and Pakistan have failed to resolve for decades and for which they have gone to war 4 times, has consistently seen Turkish politics lean heavily in favor of Islamabad. Turkey's President Erdogan took this stance a step further, raising the Kashmir issue in a speech at the United Nations in 2019.
Güney Asya'nın istikrarı ve refahı Keşmir meselesinden ayrı düşünülemez. Şu anda Birleşmiş Milletler Güvenlik Konseyi'nin Birleşmiş Milletler'in almış olduğu karara rağmen Keşmir adeta abluka altında ve 8 milyon insan Keşmir'den ne yazık ki dışarı çıkamıyor.
Ankara had kept its promise to Pakistan. For New Delhi, this means opening its borders to discussion. Since that day, India-Turkey relations have taken a significant hit. Turks and Pakistanis define each other as brothers. Speaking only of historical ties would fall short in explaining this brotherly bond. From a religious perspective, both countries, predominantly Sunni Muslim and non-Arab, may feel close to each other for these reasons. The two countries became regional allies by not having an Arab or Persian personal tie and by keeping their distance from radical movements. Pakistan carried out operations against the Taliban after 2014. Turkey fought threats such as FETÖ and ISIS. They also displayed a similar attitude against Iran's Shia-centric regime policies. This common stance enabled the two countries to become effective actors in the regions, with their forces independent of Arab and Persian axis. For this reason, the geopolitical cooperation between Turkey and Pakistan is in similar methods. We see that Turkey and Pakistan have adopted a common stance in Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan. Pakistan and Turkey experiencing nothing short of a golden age in defense cooperation in recent years. This collaboration manifests itself through joint military exercise, technology transfers, and large-scale defense agreements. In 2018, Turkey signed a $1 billion agreement to build 4 Milgem-class corvette warships for the Pakistani Navy. The friendship between Turkey and Pakistan is built on an unshakable truth accumulated over centuries. Both countries, realizing they have few friends in the world, strive to carefully project this bond. This relationship, beyond religious and cultural commonalities, rests on deep loyalty that has endured for over 5 centuries.